I was first introduced to Professor David Vaver when I walked into his copyright law class here at Osgoode Hall Law School, and I was completely taken. For me, that was it. I was going to study copyright law with this formidable scholar, and who was touching already. I could see a captive audience in the room. All the students were so taken by him. I think he's really inspired me to follow in his footsteps. And I think that says so much about him as a person. He's not just this amazing scholar, so well-renowned around the world, but also such an amazing person. It's his humanity that resonates with so many of us.
Professor Vaver inspired me to want to be a professor and inspired me to do my graduate work to start that path at the University of Oxford.
Sometimes people underrate how boring IP and its discourse can be. And so when you have someone like David who just doesn't only make it exciting, but makes it something that people can easily relate to, then you begin to appreciate the unique contributions he has made.
The thing about his writing that strikes me is you really do get a good sense of who David is. You get a sense of his humour, like the wit that he brings when he talks about the law. He takes such joy and finds such amusement in discussing the law of intellectual property that he always made it accessible and fun and interesting.
He's had over 67 cites in the various courts, including the Supreme Court of Canada, for propositions that he's enunciated in his books and in his scholarly articles and things like that. He's everywhere. He's sort of like ants at a picnic. Every time IP turns up, so does David Vaver.
I mean, no academic can boast of this level of significant impact, and it's little wonder then that the Canadian government has given him the Order of Canada, and I don't think any government has ever given the highest civilian honor to anyone for intellectual property, so it's a very proud moment for all of us.
When I found out that Professor Vaver was inducted into the Order of Canada, I was so excited. I was literally doing jumping jacks in my house. So I wanted to make sure that everyone else had that feeling, so we put together a first-class event in his honor and really to commemorate everything he's done for all of us. And in fact, so many people flew from around the world to be there to celebrate on November 20. We had students there, judges there, practitioners, members of the public. Everyone wanted to be at this event. And it really was a standing room only event for him. After the November 20 event, we found out that he became a Fellow of the Royal Society of Canada for his world preeminence in intellectual property law. So he's not only recognized here in Canada, but around the world for how incredible he is. And I have to say, I don't know of anyone else who's been bestowed these two honors in our field. So many congratulations go to Professor David Vaver. In 2012, he was awarded the Padishah Medal for Teaching Excellence for Trademark and Train Identity. His speaking and participation is constantly sought after, and he's devoted innumerable pro bono hours to various important public interest activities. For instance, he helped me establish IP Osgoode. He speaks at distinguished public lectures, lectures at the yearly Federal Court Judges Conference, mentors and coaches students, assists organizers in the Harold Fox Moot and Oxford Moot, which he founded when he was in Oxford, and leads speaker series not only here at Osgoode, but in other institutions across Canada and around the world. He's always generously giving of his time and imbues his passion to further the interests of his students, peers, and the public writ large. On a personal and professional front, he's a gentleman and ever mindful of bolstering the education system with integrity for our students and ensuring that our finest institutions and traditions are also respected. He has a rare nobility, which is lacking in these current times. Drawing from a phrase of the celebrated poet T.S. Eliot, who said of his predecessor poet Ezra Pound, Professor Vaver truly is il miglior fabbro, the best artisan.
I'd like to start by thanking not only Pinham but the whole IP Osgoode team for organizing such a wonderful event. It's a real privilege to be invited here today and to honor David. And I think Pina's quite right. IP would not be where it is at Oxford were not for David, and I'm delighted to say that he continues to still play a vibrant part, even though occasionally from 4,000 miles away in what we do.
He broadened his scope on source of law to embrace human rights, showing, among other things, how a right to own intellectual property has no claim to outrank the rights of individuals to participate in their culture. He will move beyond liberty rights, which themselves impose no duties, to explore the possibilities that users also have claim rights, that is, the kind of stronger rights which place duties on copyright owners, and that copyright owners own something to the culture that makes them wealthy.
Intelligence, dedication to the standards of excellence, uncompromising integrity, a sense of humor, all powerful qualities of our David Vaver. Those of us who have benefited from Professor Vaver's enormous contributions are indeed fortunate. Those of us who know David personally are all the more enriched. It is fitting and proper that David Vaver's academic and professional success has been recognized by the Order of Canada.
This conference for me has been quite overwhelming. Actually, I thought I was just coming to an academic conference, but it turned out to be a sort of a roast as well, and which is very kind. And the words that have been deployed about me, well, it was well, thank you. They've been extremely generous. It's an incredible privilege to actually be a professor in a university, and I feel it now. If I haven't felt it before, which I did. And one has some wonderful colleagues, both in academia and at the bar and the bench, who have been equally supportive in what one does. It doesn't mean they agree with you. I mean, it would be really a dull subject if you had a universal consensus on what it was all about. And there isn't, and nor should there be. This is a dynamic, dialogic area where people have got lots of ideas, there are lots of interests that are involved, and one can just perhaps provide a glimpse into those and hope that others come at it from their own perspective. And Canada has become, I think, a real hotbed of intellectual property scholarship, if one can put it that way. That was my students, and Dr. D'Agostino was one of those, and she's been responsible for putting this all together with Michelle Lee from IP Osgoode primarily. And I have to thank her and them very much for doing that. This is, it's more than one could ever have hoped for, and certainly much more than one could ever deserve. So thank you very much.
Now, we've heard today that Professor Vaver is all about his students. So at the cocktail reception, and very fitting, we did this in the JCR, the Junior Common Room, we unveiled the IP Osgoode David Vaver Medal for Excellence in Intellectual Property. And it was the very first award, and really a way to commemorate his induction into the Order of Canada, and as a way to have everything go full circle. Because really what Professor Vaver is someone who is always for the students first. And this award in his name would go to outstanding students who also typify the very values that the Order of Canada exudes and that which he lives.
Just I'm grateful for all the ways in which Professor Vaver has helped support me in my career.
Professor Vaver's scholarship provided a rich source of ideas to inspire myself and a whole generation of academics to explore and probe and critique in ways that are hard to overstate.
Without his support and guidance, would I have ever got my PhD? It's impossible for me to say.
Not only have you made us all better scholars and teachers, you've made the Canadian intellectual property system a much better system, and hopefully one that is a model that we can export around the world.
From here in Aberdeen, Order of the World of IP to you, David. Many congratulations again.
And I do congratulate you, David, and say what a pleasure it is to have known you for so long.
Congratulations, David, and bravo on this recognition of your extraordinary achievement in the area of intellectual property, and what a record it is.
David, I understand Canada has given you a great honour. New Zealand will do too.
Congratulations to him and his family on this wonderful accomplishment with the Order of Canada. So well deserved, and I can't think of a better person who, not only professionally but personally, is so invested in so many people and has been doing it so generously for so long. So thanks, Professor Vaver, and congratulations on this great honor.
This is such a beautiful way to commemorate this amazing achievement and something that is his legacy. So many congratulations go to Professor David Vaver.